welcome to our very first podcast for life, which stands for love, inspiration, faith.
And education.
There we go, education. It has taken us forever to record our very first episode. So we are downstairs hiding out in the basement
From the kids.
from the kids to get this recorded because we do believe that it's important that we not only tell our story, but we do the work that God has called us to do. And so here we are.
So this podcast, it came about. Um, we've had a lot of friends that have told us, we've been helping them, through certain situations, or even, speaking at engagements or events, and people always come up to us and say, "Oh my God, what you said has changed my life," or we get an email later, or a phone call, a text message saying, "What you said really impacted me." And sometimes I'd be like, "What the hell did I
What'd you
say?"
say?
Like, I hope it was good. And so what we notice is that a lot of times people see us or see other individuals, but don't really know their story or behind the scenes of how did they get to where they are.
Mhm.
And I know in my family and most Black families, we only celebrate the successes, but we don't talk about the failures. And there are a lot of people in life struggling, going through certain situations, dealing with mental health issues, people even committing suicide because they feel like they're not being heard, or they feel like they're just too far down in the slumps or a failure, and therefore things go dramatically wrong. And so our goal for this podcast is just to kind of lift the veil and look behind the scenes and invite people on and help people get through life,
And just
because
talk about life.
life be life and
Oh my goodness.
life be life. So this first episode, we're just going to talk a little about who we are and how do we get here. And we're going to talk about the biology experiment.
Mm.
And you'll learn more about what that means very soon.
Um, I will say that the biology lab experiment was one of the most, I didn't know it at the time, but one of the most incredible things that could have ever happened in our lives. So
Could have been happened faster, but some people didn't.
here we go. Let's go.
So I'm going to let you tell your version of how we met and how we
It's
got
the right
together,
version.
because I always tell my version, which is the right version.
No.
But I'll let you tell your version of how we met and how we got together. And I'll just, add in, the truth every once in a while.
Y'all hear this guy? So let's get started because Dwayne has this idea in his head that my story about how we met is not the right story.
It's not.
And I am going to call on Siobhan Clayton from Francis Marion to verify
Devon
my
is my
story.
friend too. So
Let's get it. So the first time I met Dwayne was at Francis Marion University. We had a biology lab class together
freshman year.
our freshman year. Now, let's talk about what really happened on that first day. Dwayne, I was sitting down by myself. I was ready for lab to begin. I was excited. This is different for me to be in the lab. I was sitting by myself, and moments before it was time for the professor to close the door and start her lecture, Dwayne comes trotting in. He was late.
Wait.
You were late.
You said moments before she closed the door. So that means I was on time. She didn't close the door.
He was late. And I'm gonna tell you why I consider him late. If you are going to be partnering with someone, you need to meet before class so you can discuss.
I didn't know you were my partner.
Well, we didn't know at that point. But listen, he came in late.
It was the first day of class.
The very first day of lab. He was late. I'm gonna keep saying that. Dwayne came in
Lab
late.
and the lecture were separated.
Dwayne came in late to the lab, and I was already seated, ready, and just so happened that there was an empty seat beside me. He came in because he was late and didn't want to walk to the back of the class, so he just took the first seat in the front. I mean, I'm the studious one, so I'm at the front of the class, ready.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll let you have that one.
Dwayne sits
Serious.
down and I'm looking at him like, brother, you're late.
Not
He would
late.
look so disheveled trying to get in into a seat. So
I
our professor,
overslept.
and there lies the gap. So that
Class
proves my
started at
point.
what time did that class start? Eight,
It was, I
7?
think it was an 8:30 class, I do believe.
So I woke up at like 8:15. I normally get up early, but I was rushing. I did not get to the class after the
And
30. I
yet
got to
again,
that
he
class at
just
like
said that he was
8:29. Class will start at
he
8:30.
just said that he woke up late, he overslept. So that proves that I'm telling the truth. So
Carry on.
she started the lecture and she then says that I think her name was Professor Long, Dr. Long.
Camper.
Lane. Her name was Dr. Lane.
Dr. Camper, I thought.
No. See, this is anyway.
I know she was nice.
No, she wasn't. She was pregnant.
Oh, I thought she was wide.
Oh my God. So then she then tells us that the person you're sitting beside is going to be your lab partner for
For the rest of the
the rest
year.
of the year. What? This guy who's disheveled and late is gonna be my partner? Absolutely not. I literally wanted to ask her, like, can I just get with Siobhan, who was literally right behind me? I was gonna go up to her after class and ask her, can I just switch with Siobhan and just partner with Siobhan? Anyway, after class, didn't get to do that. Let's talk about what happened during the class, the very first class. I'm sitting there jotting down my notes, minding my business. And the next thing I know, he writes his number down in my notebook.
Because I'm your lab partner.
Who says? Because I
The lady said,
asked her to switch partners.
the lady said, whoever you're sitting beside is your lab partner for the rest of the year. So I know that I did not want to be the slacker in the group of the partnership. So I just wanted to give you my number so that we can stay connected and make sure all assignments
I
are
really felt
being.
like he was just defacing my property because no no one gave him permission to write his number down on my note in my notebook.
Defacing is pretty borderline vandalism.
I mean, you want to call it that? So at that point, that was just like, yeah, that didn't sit too well with me. I was not happy at all about that. So it was after, we're leaving class. People were up there talking to our professor, so I could not talk to her to ask her, could I switch partners? So now I'm stuck with this guy whom I'm thinking is just like, ugh. So
What?
then the very next class, now we had to go to the lecture. Again, he's coming in late. Were you not late? He came in again late, and I'm like, this just confirms like why I don't want him to be my partner. He's coming in late again.
What do you consider late? Was the door closed?
She was closing the
But
door.
was I in before she closed the door?
You was in as she was closing the door. You
But I was in before she closed the door.
late. So so it was just like I'm looking like, ugh, okay. So after that,
Oh, I
we
should
had
have
went to
told my
class.
side of the story.
We had started going to the class and everything. We're partners. We're working together. Dwayne and I argued every
Every day.
lab class, every single lab. We were arguing, fussing back and forth. To the point we were like cursing each other out. It was just a mess. It was a mess,
I could not stand her.
and I could not stand him either.
She thought I was arrogant.
I really did think that he was very arrogant, and here's why. Dwayne came in the class like he was just, I mean, when he started to talk about himself, it was, I am, this with NAACP. I've done this, I've done that. And I'm like, boring. It's like, I was so annoyed with him. And so I think at that point, I was just like, let me just push through with this guy until the end because I want my grade. I do not want to impact my
So you skipped
GPA.
the part. You skipped the part. Because when I first met you, I actually was trying to hit on you.
Yeah.
and she thought I was what? Corny.
I mean, he did give corny vibes. And so I was
Well,
just
I'm
like
sorry.
not interested. But here's the kicker. Here's the thing that really just set me off. My roommate and I were in our dorm room. We were watching a movie.
You gotta tell us a different way.
No, 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 no. This is the right way. We were watching a movie, and as we're watching the movie, our room phone rung. Now, the only people that knew our room phone number were like our parents and our suite mates and our RA. So I'm like, it got to be one of them. My roommate answers the phone, and she was like,
Boy,
Toya, I love Toya. Toya answers the phone, and she's like, hello. And he was like, can I speak to Deborah? Wait a minute, pause. Deborah, it's a guy on the phone for you. I was like, no, not for me. No, he specifically asked for you. And I was like, ask who it is. Ask who it is. She was like, who is this? She was like, he said, Dwayne. She was like, wait a minute. Deborah, you didn't give him your room phone number. No. She cusses Dwayne out. You're an effing stalker. You're a stalker. Dwayne and my roommate gets into it because like, how did you get her number? That's the first. She just kept asking her, how did you get her number? You are a stalker. This is crazy.
we still get into it to this day.
To this day, like, how did you get I'm like, seriously wondering. Mind you, he never talked to me on the phone that day because my roommate and him was just going at it. She eventually just hung up the phone.
See, I'm trying to get my lab work done.
You could do your lab work without my number. What lab work were you trying to get done? Anyway. So it was just like since then, like the next time I saw him, we literally just got into it because I'm like, how did you get my number? He's like, I told you anything I want, I can get.
Consistent.
Now, isn't that
I seen
arrogant?
the show on Netflix forever.
Mhm.
I'm Justin. Hey, Keisha. Because in the beginning, Justin was chasing Keisha. But in the end, Keisha
Okay.
chasing Justin.
So then
Watch
eventually,
the show if you haven't seen it.
shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
So then we just kind of like it was just a mess. We were just never getting along. It wasn't until we had to go on a field trip
This
with
was like
our,
close to the end of class.
yeah. We had to go on a field trip where we had to go to the cemetery.
A
This,
cemetery,
I
y'all.
know, a cemetery. Isn't it nasty? It's crazy. We had to go to a cemetery off Irving Street. The cemetery off of Irving Street, right?
Yeah, between Irving and Evans Street, right?
Yeah. It's that cemetery there in Florence.
With the
Well,
big arch.
with the big arch. And so we had to, with our partner, go and look at the unmarked graves. And the experiment was we were trying to see like how long the body has been there. It was just
It's like a
very
small
cringy.
sample. It's like a very small soil sample you take, and then you do some tests on it or whatever.
Yeah, it was very cringy.
So Deborah had a car. I didn't have a car my freshman year. And so I ended up riding with, I asked her, she was my lab partner, y'all. So I was like, hey, lab partner, can I ride with you to?
Not a good look. So we ended up riding together
And
and
I thought we was about to have to push because somebody didn't have no gas.
I had a little bit of gas. I had enough gas to get us
You
there and
heard
back.
exactly what she had, a
I
little
had
bit
the
of gas.
gas to get us there and back.
Deborah was driving a Ford Explorer 80 Bauer V8, and in the bottom there's a little console in the middle in the lower part of the dash, and it would tell how many miles were left.
We had enough to get back to campus. That's all I'm gonna say. My dad used to always come and fill up my tank on that like Saturday or Sunday.
You must have been
And
riding a lot because you only had like 10 miles.
no, I had a more than 10 miles because we could get back to campus. Anyway, so we are working and doing our experiment, and this was one of our most like mature conversations that we had. Um, and we had a very good conversation, and it kind of just changed the course of our Friendship
the
at the
cemetery.
cemetery.
Place where people go to be buried for
At
the
the
eternal rest.
cemetery. We really did have a really good conversation, and it just kind of like started changing my mind about him. And so we went to the gas station.
No, she had enough gas, y'all.
We went to the gas station and like Dwayne filled my tank up. And it was just like, okay, yes, brownie points for you. He filled my gas tank up and then we went
gas
back to
tanks up for the
campus.
past 20 years every Sunday.
Ever since.
Because somebody hand and card. It's like the magnetic strip just falls off her car and her hand can't pump no gas.
I just don't think that's something that I should be doing out of all the things I have
I
to
know
do with
you
my
do.
life.
I'm happy to do it.
Oh, thank you, baby. Okay, so we started having more like calmer conversations where we're not cussing each other out. And it just kind of went from there. I will say for like a full year, we were just friends. So many people thought we were more than friends. We literally were just friends.
It's funny, like when I first met Deborah, we were both single. Um, and I hit on her and it didn't work out. And then we just became close friends. Like we did not see each other as, no more than friends, but we would hang together. We were cool. Even after class, the class ended, we were still like cool, chat with each other, see
Yeah.
each other. So I got a girlfriend. Deborah, Deborah got a boyfriend.
No, I did not have a boyfriend. He was not my boyfriend. Deborah had a friend. Deborah had a friend.
Deborah had a boyfriend.
He was not my boyfriend. He was a
Well,
friend.
what was he?
A good friend. A friend.
So me and you were friends,
Yeah.
but
He was a friend.
oh, okay. So
He was a friend.
what kind of friend was that? Because I didn't do what he did with you at that time.
He was a friend.
Just a friend.
He was a friend.
Well, we got into I was in a relation. I got into a relationship.
And Deborah was in a friendship.
Hmm.
So,
And then a couple of, months later, we both were not in a relationship, kind of at the same time.
yeah. Well, now I would say a couple of months later, you were in deep in that relationship,
Yeah, about a
honey.
year.
Yes. So we were friends, like really good supportive friends for like a full year before we even like
Yeah,
progressed to something else. Like we really got to know each other. We hung out together. It was nothing like that. It was just
friendship. Like I just saw her like, hey, what's up?
we built a solid friendship before anything else. So then a year or so later, it was a little more than a year later, we
She
eventually
did not want to talk to me at first. She did.
because and I want to name why. It wasn't because like I didn't like him. It's just I didn't want to be his rebound girl. He had just broken up with his girl, or he and his girlfriend had just broken up. And I didn't want him to just hop into a new relationship and then, have some unresolved things from
Oh, they were.
no, I'm just saying not feelings,
Oh
but
yeah.
I think it was a hurtful thing for you.
Yeah, we moved on. But
I
it was.
just wanted him to be sure that he was ready to be in a relationship with me, and I didn't want it to be like, oh, he was
And it
just
didn't
talking to
happen.
her now.
It didn't happen like immediately after we broke up. It was like like I said, we were friends, and like a
Hmm.
couple of months later, we would see each other. We would start hanging out,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna tell you where it really kicked off.
It was one day. You talking about the thing in my dorm room?
Which came first, that or Target?
The dorm room.
Okay, so the
So
dorm room happened.
he would come over and hang out with my roommates and their friends. We would all just hang out. And this one particular date was, oh Lord, Michelle and all of them was
I don't
like,
know how that had to happen.
we had a conversation, and the conversation, I can't remember what the conversation was about.
Because y'all were having a conversation first, and I came in like
Yes,
I
and he
came to
came
see
in.
you.
Yes. You came to see me. We were already having a
'Cause I was about
conversation.
to go get something to eat.
And somehow Dwayne got in the conversation. The conversation got heated. Like, not a heated as in negative, but heated as in,
So
ooh.
they were sitting there talking. I came in. Who opened the door for me? Somebody opened the door for me.
Jessica.
Just opened the door for me. So I came in. I didn't know. She was like, "Oh, we're back here." So I came in. They were sitting on the bed talking. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to interrupt. I just came to see you. I'm about to go get something to eat." And somebody said
I
something,
don't remember, but I just know that the conversation
and
just
it
spiraled out of control.
and I said something in response back,
And they were like, "Do we need to leave?"
like, yeah,
It was, no, they didn't leave. But I just remember that conversation
it
was stuff
got
like, it was pretty
testy, like
okay.
publicly,
Moving on.
like
That was the first public conversation that we had that gave people an indication that something, well,
something
something
more was going on.
really, something more was going on with us. And then I wanted to redecorate my room. And so we went to Target. Dwayne
She
came,
called me. She's like, "What you doing?" I was like,
let's go to Target.
"Yeah, I'm finished with class." He's like, "Let's ride to Target."
We had so much
Fun
fun
in
in
Target.
Target.
Like that's when I knew. I mean, after that kind of heated conversation we had in the room with your roommates, I left because I was
Wound up. He was wound up.
I was wound up. So
Wait,
I had to leave.
he left.
I didn't want to do anything, and plus I knew we were friends, and I didn't want to mess up the friendship. Like that's how much I valued our friendship. Like we were having conversations with each other
Hmm.
about just things that were happening in our lives, about
Hmm.
our future. Like I knew the boy wanted to be an FBI agent, wanted to move to DC. Um, I wanted to work on the Hill and live in DC. And so we had that in common. So we
Hmm.
would talk about our futures, talk about our families, talk about class. We were the same majors. Um, so it
Yes.
was easy to talk to her. She was like my balance. She grounded me because she quote unquote thought I was arrogant.
Okay.
I'm not arrogant. My mom just taught me to love myself. And she always taught me that if you don't promote yourself, nobody else will.
Mm,
And so that's kind of how
that's
I
good.
grew up.
That's good. So
We went to Target
we went to Target. And Target was a fun trip. Had a conversation like no other
in
on the
Target.
way to Target and while we're in Target. The entire time we're walking around Target, and it's just like we were talking about our goals. We talked about so much in
I
that.
think that was the first time I held your hand in public
Yes,
in Target.
it was.
And I had to put gas in.
Again. Yeah. And so ever since then, we've been going strong. Going,
Been married for 18 years and been friends for 22,
yeah, 22, 20, no, 20 years.
20.
20 years.
I'm with this girl for 20 years.
Yes.
Dang.
Just can't get enough of my little baby. Yeah, I know. So yeah, and I think though, college, our time together in college, like we had so much fun. We just really were enjoying our youthhood. We were all over the place.
Yeah,
We were traveling. We were going to
together.
Charleston. We were on the Myrtle Beach. You name it. We were just living the life. And that all came crashing down when my grades got sent to my dad. The story behind that, like Dwayne and I was living our best life.
This
Best
is
life.
a story almost everybody know campus.
Everybody at Presbyterian was like, whoa, what the world? Let me tell y'all. So I did not know that your grades get sent home to your parents, especially if you get like a D or something like that. I can't remember what it was. So I'm enjoying life. I got a D in I think my sociology class, Dr. Thayer. It was Dr. Thayer's class. I got a D in his class, and I just remember I was in class, Dr. King's class this particular day, and class was over. I walk out of my class,
Mind you, I'm in this class. We're in this class together.
walk out of class, and there's my dad standing there just looking around because he's looking for me. My daddy was looking for me. He's standing.
Boy, daddy is not
and,
a little
and
guy.
that's the thing. My dad is not a little guy. My dad is tall and he's heavy set.
And
Like he's a big man.
This construction.
And he works construction. So he had on his construction outfit. Let me tell you, with some jeans and a white shirt and something else like that. I cannot remember, but I do know by this point in the day, it's middle of the day. So he's already been working since like 7:30. So he's dirty. He's standing in the middle of the hallway. He probably asked somebody.
Founders Hall?
Yes.
So Founders Hall is like in the middle.
It's the hub.
Epicenter of campus.
Everybody has had a class in Founders Hall. So my dad is standing in the middle of the hallway, and he was like, "Come here, come here." Everybody looking around like, "Who daddy is that?" And my little small self at the time just go walking to somebody like, he was like, "Give me your keys. Here you go. Just go, daddy. Please, just leave." He was like, "You think you grown?" He was like, "You got a D. What's that all about?" He was like, "So I'm taking this car so you can focus. You need to focus and get your grades up."
That's not it.
My daddy leaves, walk across campus to find my car. Like he goes to find the truck. And mind you, my Uncle Cliff is with him. My Uncle Cliff is with him. My dad gets my car, comes around campus
straight through
campus, like where everybody is crossing. He had the audacity to honk the horn and wait.
Everybody outside.
So embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. And I promise you, my daddy did not play. He was like, that car is going to stay parked in Dillon, South Carolina. And the car was parked. I would come home, get a ride home to Dillon. I would come home and I couldn't even drive it for the weekend. I couldn't even drive it while I was there. That car was parked in the yard until I got my grades up. I was so embarrassed.
That was the funniest.
It scared Dwayne off, so I knew he was the one for me.
I was like, boy, I'm so sorry for you. I feel so bad.
So embarrassed. And everybody's looking around like, girl, your daddy just embarrassed. I was just like, here, get the keys, daddy. Go, go, go.
Boy, I never forget that. I never forget that. We had a lot of good times at Francis Marion.
And by the way, my Uncle Cliff was riding behind him.
Waving at you.
The work truck. The work truck was riding right behind my daddy. The memories. The memory.
We had some really good memories. I had a good time.
I enjoyed my time.
I remember that time your sister came to celebrate your birthday.
Oh, yes.
And I had to pick you up out of the hallway.
She became Wendy, and her name is not Wendy at all. What was Wendy? Where did I get that name? It was my 21st birthday. It started off beautiful. We went to dinner. My family was there. We had dinner.
Yeah.
And then I came back to campus, and my roommates, Dwayne, had got together and had a surprise party for me. It's my 21st birthday, so you can already just go put two and two together, figure out what happened. It was bad. My sister was like, here.
We had a good time. Also, we got engaged at Francis Marion.
Yep.
A3?
A4.
A4, room D.
Mm-hmm.
We got engaged on my birthday. At Francis Marion.
At Francis Marion.
And for those of you who don't know, Kennedy was conceived at Francis Marion.
We've been married for 18 years.
Kennedy's 18 years. But we were engaged. How long before you were?
2 years. We were engaged for 2 years.
Kennedy was conceived.
Let me tell you, I walked across the stage pregnant and didn't even know it.
Yep.
I didn't find out my graduation was in May, and I found out I was pregnant in July. Ooh.
Man, it was
roller coaster ride.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
So we after we left college,
we graduated.
Bora went home. I went to my dad's house and stepmother's house.
I was living with my parents.
And I think it may have been a week or two. And I think the next month we found out you were pregnant, right?
Hmm.
And so I was like, look, uh, we're engaged. I want to be with this girl. He's the one for me. I'm going to get us an apartment. And so went and got an apartment.
While I was at work,
'Cause she
I
was
was teaching.
teaching at this
My
time.
first year teaching, pregnant.
And I went and got an apartment, moved in. Only thing we had, all I had was my big trunk that I had from school.
Hmm.
I bought a TV and a blow up mattress. I told her to, after work, meet me in Florence.
Yes. I got off work. I'm like going to meet my man. I'm pregnant, going to meet my man. And because this was in October,
Yeah.
and I get there and he was like, close your eyes. I'm like, I'm pregnant. I don't want to fall. He was like, no, trust me, close your eyes. And he brought me into our apartment. There was nothing in there but this blow up bed in the trunk that
And
he had and a TV. And we stayed in this apartment with those three items, and then we brought in our clothes, of course, until we could afford to get us a bed.
a bed and a chair. And then we eventually got the other stuff a couple of months later. We also got married
Got married in
in
our
that
first
apartment
apartment.
in February.
Yes.
Kennedy was born in January that following year.
Hmm.
We got married in February in that apartment. Um, Cost us all of $75.
$75. $25 for the marriage certificate and $50 for the lady to come and marry us. Best $75 we've ever spent.
Yep.
Okay. And here we are, married. Um, it has been an incredible ride. So many life lessons that we learned together.
Yeah.
And it brought us closer together because we had to trust one another. We had to learn how to communicate with each other. But all in all, everything from that moment forward really was a faith walk. It was really trusting one another and just supporting each other through the good and the bad because so much happened within these
Oh
18
man,
years. So much has happened.
so much has happened.
Our lives have changed. It has been lifing to the point we added more kids.
3 kids.
We have 3 kids.
3.
Can you believe that? I always said I wasn't going to have any kids.
When I first met the board told me I'm not having children.
I
Like
didn't
she
want
told me
kids.
when we first started dating, if you want kids, I'm not your person. And I was like, what? And so I was like, you know what? I love you enough. Cool. And here's the reason why she did not want to have kids. Why you didn't want to have kids before?
Because I had a lot of nieces and nephews. I had a
And
lot of
what you
nieces.
didn't like
I had a lot of nieces and
that
nephews
you
that I thought I was fine, but I did not want to change diapers.
she didn't want to change poopy diapers.
I did not want to have to change the poopy diapers because I remember one time I had to change my nephew's poopy diaper, and my sister and I we had on my mama gloves, the little like mittens, the kitchen mitten things.
How you change with kitten?
It was a
Kitchen?
mess. We had
Yeah.
the like towel things around our nose. It was a mess, and we had to clean his diaper because we were there by ourselves, and he pooped. It was like.
So that lets you know I changed all poop
I
diapers
did
for a
not
long
want,
time.
yeah, I did not want any kids for that purpose because I didn't want to have to clean diapers. I received a text message from my best friend, and she was just like, I think you should know that my doctor did not give me a good prognosis. At that point, I felt like, here I go again. I'm about to spiral. She was like, but I'm staying positive, and I just believe that the devil is a liar. Um, I had to work through that because I'm like, girl, I love you so much. Like, what is happening? Um, it was it was so sad just to see how someone who was as strong as my best friend, she was so strong. She was so strong. And she was such a good mother to her kids. Um,
Awesome school administrator.
Awesome school administrator. I learned so much from her that led me to this point.
It was so funny um, when I first met her friend. So I used to work in the district. We were in the same district, and we would end up at cluster meetings together, at the principal meeting, and we even develop a relationship where we would be texting each other about what's happening in the meeting. And she's like, just wait till I get back to school and tell Deborah, because Deborah worked at her school. She was a good person.
She was a very good person. She has raised some phenomenal kids. All three of her kids are doing an amazing job. I know she would be proud of them. Her daughter is, oh my gosh, the strength of her mother is embedded within her. I'll never forget the day that she texted me. Dwayne and I were out with the kids at the museums in DC. I'll never forget that. And my best friend was in the hospital, and she made the decision that she wanted to just go home. And my best friend's daughter texted and was like, "Hey, I think you guys just need to come. If you're gonna come and visit her, I think you guys need to come now." I within 3 hours, Dwayne had me on a flight. He was like, Go see her now." He booked the flight. I literally had to go home, change clothes. I only took my purse and a backpack with me. I didn't even get to pack no clothes. It was just like within that much notice, I got on this flight and I went to see my best friend. She was so upset that I was there. It was like, girl, you fussing. I'm here. Like, she was fussing me out. Um, I needed to see her. Um, that was the first time I watched the movie Life, where I had never seen it before. It was the first time we sat and watched the movie together. Well, she ended up falling asleep, but I had never seen this movie before, and I just sat to watch a movie with her. And that's why I believe that the title of
Black card.
Please give me my card back. I'm so sorry.
Well, I can see that. Deborah can't watch a movie.
I fall asleep.
We used to try to go to movies when we were dating. Man, it
You
was
better get me some
way
sleep in
some
that movie.
money. Soon as the movie come on, you know, when the line come on, raw.
Gotta get me some sleep. I'm definitely gonna get me some
gone.
sleep. And it was like, we sat and watched this movie. And I think it's so ironic how the title of our podcast is Life, and that was the last movie that we watched together. Um, it has been a journey to get to this point. Grief, that was grief.
Yeah, grief is a big thing.
It overtook me, and I just couldn't handle it. So there was a lot of people who felt like I just cut them off, and I was going through some stuff. Like, I was going through some real difficult stuff, and nobody checked on me.
I'm sorry.
I love you. You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
So there's my story.
So in these next couple of podcasts, you'll hear some more about us, but then we're going to start inviting some folks on to also understand who they are. Because a lot of times, like I said, we see people, we just see the successes or we just see them, like, but you don't know my true story of where I come from, who I am, how I got here, all of my failures. Like people would know, we've been evicted how many times?
Twice? No, once.
No, once. But our cars have been repossessed. Once?
No, twice.
Cora was at work. She called me when we were young. Was at work and she called me. Hey, babe, did you come get the truck? I'm like, no. Now this is when I was teaching in King Street. Like, nah, how would I get from? I drove my car. How would I get from King Street to Taylor? and get the truck.
Y'all, them people came and got our car.
Dorset.
They came and snatched that car
Or
up.
maybe I'll park on the other side.
I had parked right here. My mama had to come pick me up and take me home. We have
We
been.
have been through some stuff. And see, these are the things that, people don't see. They see us now where we are, but
How did we get
how
to
do
this
we
point?
get to this point? And I think that's the important part. A lot of times people are growing up, going through stuff that they just need an encouraging word.
Mhm.
And there's too many people
Right.
now struggling,
Yes.
committing suicide because they feel like they're alone, or they feel like, they're going through this by themselves. And sometimes they just need to hear your story. And you don't know what your story would do to help somebody.
Right.
So the goal of these podcasts is to, one, tell our story.
And show we didn't always have it all together.
Mm-mm.
And here we are.
It's a progress. Marriage, life, having kids is a daily practice and progress.
Mhm.
I love my wife,
And I love my husband.
but there's sometimes I didn't like her. Like that time she put me out the car
On East Countryside Road.
in the country. I didn't know where I was. We hope this podcast is helpful to someone. We are excited about finally starting this podcast. We were supposed to start this
2 years ago?
2 years ago. It's just been so much has been going on with work and kids and life. It's just, but we're excited to finally get this started. And we hope to have our second episode out and ready. We're excited with a few topics, and we're excited for some of our friends that we're going to be bringing on and bringing to the screen.
So, welcome to our life.
Welcome to our life, because life be life.